evening. Welcome back to Youthology on AUK Radio, brought to you by Attentive Social Enterprise every 2 Wednesdays of the month from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. I am your host, Ruth.
And Manur.
And we have our guest today in the studio, Sarah.
Hi guys. Sarah.
Hello. She's been here before, but she's such a lovely guest that we had to invite her back. So she can do a redo. And Sarah is a sixth form student. She is also a youth ambassador at Attentive Social Enterprise, which is where we all have a role there. So we can talk a bit about that later on if there's anything we need to add. But starting on, Sarah, do you want to give a bit of an introduction about yourself for anyone who didn't listen the first time?
I'm currently studying three of the hardest subjects in my opinion, biology, chemistry and maths. Hopefully it will lead to dentistry, but we'll see how that road goes.
That's nice. And how are you finding Attentive so far?
I feel like it's a very good experience. I've learned so much. One of the best things is learning how to use a camera. Before someone would pass me a camera, I didn't know what to do. I didn't even know what the on button was. Yeah. I remember we had the youth ambassador training week, and Montel handed me a camera, and I struggled with finding the on button. But now I'm good with it.
That's good. You are quite good actually. I see you a lot with the camera, so that is good. And just to go into the show because we're a bit late, apologies for that. But I wanted to ask you guys, how safe do you think Luton is, especially for a young woman?
So I think Luton is relatively safe. I don't think I would feel comfortable walking alone at night or even past 6 o'clock.
Yeah, I get you.
For me, since I've started uni, I've actually had to walk home quite late, like after 7, sometimes 8, and it gets quite dark now since it's becoming winter time.
Yeah.
So a lot of the times I do feel quite uncomfortable because I see people like looking at me in a strange way. And sometimes it is quite off-putting and makes me just walk more cautiously or a bit faster. But nothing has happened so far. Yeah. But it is just a bit off-putting.
Yeah, I get you. I'm someone who walks home or from home quite in the dark anyways. I'm not gonna say exactly what because we're on radio, so I don't want everyone to know. But when I walk and it's quite dark, trust me, I get a little scared, and especially because it's getting colder as well. So you're just thinking, oh my gosh, what's happening? And especially where I live, there are a lot of just people hanging around, just doing nothing. So it's a bit like when you're walking, I'm a bit mindful of when I put my headphones on, because I always have my headphones on and I just tune down the music. And this is really funny. I don't know if it's actually funny, but I hold my keys very tight. I hold them very tight just in case. I don't know, that's like my safety precaution kind of thing that I have, just in case that something happened. I'm ready with my keys. Self-defense. Okay? But it's a bit funny. It's not funny, guys. I'm sorry. But when you think about it, that as a woman, for example, you'd have to think in advance that, oh, let me hold my keys just in case something happened. What do you think of that?
Yeah, it's quite sad, I would say, honestly. I mean, it's just makes traveling and walking around so much worse, because for me as well, I'm just like holding onto my phone so tightly just to make sure that if like something happens, I'm able to call someone quickly, or I'm just able to get out of that situation. So it is quite unfortunate that like we can't just walk around and just feel safe.
Yeah. Sarah?
Yeah, so I think that it's not good at all. Like, I've had this Amber Alert set on my phone since I was like 10 or 11, just in case. I wasn't walking around late during that at that age, but just to stay safe. I do think that is a big issue, because I know in nicer areas like even Dunstable or Houghton Regis, they've got, in my opinion, safer places. But in Luton, sorry, but in Luton, I feel like it's just a different environment. There's a lot of people just like you said, hanging around, and it's just off-putting.
Yeah.
Especially if it's like this, what they call like roadmen or something.
Yeah, especially when you get those roadmen. I don't know if I don't know if you guys have any experience with this, but if you're walking on the street and then you just get a bunch of roadmen and then you feel a bit tense.
Yeah, and you want to
walking
cross
past
the
them.
road.
Yeah, when you know that you have to go across the group in general, you feel a bit tense.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have that as well, Mano?
Yeah, sometimes people just start looking at you and then you're just wondering if they're gonna approach you or not. Sometimes I've had instances on the bus where guys will like ask me my name and like where I'm going and things like that. Nothing happens as a result of that, but it's just strange, like why they're asking.
Yeah, it is a little strange. And what do you think, what measures do you think should be put in place to raise more awareness and to try to change this issue?
Ooh, that's a tough question. I think a lot of projects surrounding this are quite good. For example, what Attentive is about to work on, expressions.
Yeah.
So that's a project that involves creativity and art.
Yeah.
To bring awareness on the topic of violence against women and girls. So I think projects like that just bring awareness to the situation, not only to the more violent and severe types of violence, but also the 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 more like microaggressions and things like that, where it's just women feeling unsafe, walking home alone, or just the smaller situations. So I think projects like that are definitely good.
Yeah, that's good, Sarah.
Yeah, so I think something that Luton could do right now is just making sure that all of the street lights are on like at the correct time, because I know some of them aren't working, and I feel like when there's light around me and it's light and it's late, I feel more safe. And also, if you see a woman walking around alone, do not approach her.
Yeah, honestly.
That's a big thing.
Even if you have good intentions.
Yeah, just leave her alone.
Just leave her, let her go to wherever she's going, and just go your own way. And sometimes as well, it's very helpful if you are not a woman and you see a woman walking and you're kind of on the same side of the pavement, you can just cross the road if that's not too much. But it kind of makes us feel a bit safer as well, because then you're not thinking about the person that's behind you. When you cross the road, it's a bit more like, oh, okay, we're on our different paths and going on to different journeys. But that is really, really good. And what do you think about different safety measures that people have? So I know that some women or girls carry the spray, the pepper spray.
Yeah.
And the alarm as well.
Mm-hmm.
I know there are whole keychains about it. What do you think?
I think those are great measures, and there's also like those lights, those small lights that you can flash. And the alarms. So anything that just makes you feel a bit safer, even if like you don't really intend to like use it. You're kind of in a better place mentally if you know that you have those options.
Yeah, so I think that I really want to get one of those massive chunky keychains that everybody's talking about. I feel like it's going to make me feel really safe.
Yeah.
But one issue is it's so huge, so I don't really know who's going to be carrying something like that around. And I'm not sure if this is in Luton or not, but I remember hearing this on the news. I don't even know if it's relevant to England, but maybe it's in like America or something, that you're not allowed to carry pepper spray around legally anymore.
I feel like to some degree they should be free. Or at least the essentials of the keychain should be free. Like the pepper spray, the alarm, the light. I feel like to some degree they should be free. Would you think?
Yeah, definitely. It's just, I think things with safety should be more accessible. Yeah. Especially to the people that need them the most. So I think it's just something that could be worked on.
Yeah, but I know that some stuff like that are free. I remember it was, I think, last year. My brother, he got me this little cap. He said he got it from Luton Sixth Form when there was like a fair, careers fair maybe, and like different companies. Like how Attentive went to the one recently. There was the police there, and they were handing out these caps you could put onto your bottles.
Actually,
and just in case someone tries putting something in there, just for an extra precaution. So they were giving those out for free. There was also rape alarms that they were giving out for free. So I feel like they're already doing something,
Yeah.
but there can always be more.
Yeah, I think it should be more accessible, just like Manol said, and raise more awareness so that people know that, oh, there's this device or there are these devices that we can go and get for free, kind of thing, just to feel more safe. And moving on to or from that, how do you think, how safe do you think the internet is nowadays?
I think it can be safe, but it can be unsafe depending on what you're doing and how cautious you are with it. I think it's very easy to accidentally reveal information about yourself.
Yeah.
And just, like, for example, us on the radio, it's very easy to accidentally just say certain information about ourselves that can be quite revealing.
Yeah.
So I think it's about just staying cautious and just making sure that you're aware of what you're posting and things like that.
Yeah, I'm very scared of using social media and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't give anyone my number unless I know
Yeah.
them for a long time. Even my other social medias like Snapchat and Instagram, I only have my closest friends on there.
Yeah.
It could be because I'm slightly an introvert and I don't like, talking to many people. But I really feel like it's important to make sure that you're not talking to complete strangers.
Yeah.
And I've seen these stuff where people send messages to you, and if you click on the link that they send you, they get all of the information on your phone, and that just terrifies me.
Yeah, honestly, the internet could be really dangerous in different ways, and I know that like on Snapchat as well. Sometimes without knowing it, your location can be sent out.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a default thing, but I'm not on Snapchat, so I don't know anymore. And I'd like to get more of your opinions on this because I feel like this is not something that's really talked about a lot. I mean, people do touch on it, but I feel like there needs to be more coverage on it. So we're talking about how safe the internet is, and if you can just elaborate more on different platforms. So we touched upon Instagram a little bit. How about TikTok, which is very much rising? What do you think?
So as soon as TikTok became like a thing, like with Charlie D'Amelio and all of that kind of stuff, I had it downloaded. So I've been like a OG TikTok fan.
Yeah.
And I always found that it was like relatively safe. But then I think it was around last year, around this time, my TikTok, something happened to it. I used to have like, I don't know, like 100 followers. My account is private, and then it suddenly jumped to 1,000 something.
Oh, really?
Oh.
And my account is private, and I didn't accept anything, okay? And they were the most random followers ever. I was so scared. I closed my account, I deleted TikTok, everything. And then I downloaded it again, and it's all gone.
Yeah.
But that just got me worrying because, like, what are, like, the privacy measures going on with TikTok?
Ah, yeah, that's a
Oh,
very
wow.
good question.
I remember my teacher telling me once, he was the ICT teacher, I remember him telling me that on TikTok, when you make a draft, even when you delete it, TikTok saves it. So I don't know how true that is, but that's coming from someone that works in that industry.
Yeah.
So that's just, and like it's mainly kids as well, like that
Yeah.
are making TikToks and like drafts and stuff. So imagine TikTok saving even when you've deleted it.
Yeah, that is very scary. And because many people are now online or are content creating, it's very easy to, when you're trying to get some content, you accidentally slip up something that's got to do with where you live, the kind of area. If you're doing something general like in the mall, that's fine because that's your town's mall. But if it's more of like, oh, the front of your house or the park that can only be seen from your house and you see that point of view, then it's very easy for people to guess where you live. And I feel like that's why recently I've heard people, having their windows smashed, especially like big influencers. They get their windows smashed, they get their houses egged, which is very scary and very, very sad because then you wonder, you've got all of that fame, all of that celebrity kind of thing. You're a celebrity just for you to be getting this type of treatment. So just be safe online, guys, and especially the fact that we have more kids as well hopping onto TikTok, which they shouldn't be doing. What do you...
Yeah, there are whole like channels and TikTok accounts dedicated to like guessing where people are. Like, for
Oh,
example,
yeah,
celebrities.
yeah.
Like, if a celebrity posts a picture of their house, like, through the window, they'll, like, see, like, a landmark or something and then try and find it.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
seen that. Have you?
Yeah, I've watched those videos, and because like I might be interested in some of those celebrities, I stay and watch the whole video.
Yeah.
But obviously, it's not good, and people should stop.
Yeah, it's entertaining.
Yeah.
And there was this one, I don't know if you guys would know it, but this is very niche to TikTok. And if you're a TikTok fan, then you'll probably know what I'm talking about. But there's this one guy, and his whole channel is revolving around finding people. Literally, people make videos of themselves. They could be in a hotel, whatsoever, and then they just say his name, and they're like, "You could not find me," and he would go around finding you, and it's very, I don't know, impressive, scarily impressive. So he found, at some point he found this girl, and you know they had something going on. Nothing actually. It was just more of a work career kind of thing, because they're actually doing it to help donate money from the views, because they know people like to watch entertaining stuff like that. But it's very scary, because even though they make it seem like it's entertainment, you could have the other end of that spectrum, because I'm pretty sure, well, I don't know that guy, but hopefully his intentions are not as bad as they could be. But you could have the other end of the spectrum, where people take the fact that this content is entertaining and then do it behind closed doors with, you know, bad intentions to just find people wherever they're doing or whatever they're doing. You know, it could be very simple. Some people are very crazy. You could just take a picture of you and the brickwork in your house or outside your garden, and they're like, "Oh, yeah, that brickwork corresponds to this area in this town. It was done in this year." So very, very sad.
Yeah. I think it can really easily turn bad. Like, it's one thing where people ask to be found. Like, some people, they'll set up a challenge for it. But then there's another thing of, like, imagine you're just posting just for yourself or just for fun, and then someone finds it because they could, and there's nothing stopping it. I think it could be used for good, where you're, like, trying to find criminals or, like, someone that needs to be found. But if you're just doing it on regular people, then it is concerning.
I mean, unless you've got aspirations to be a detective for, I don't know who, or like a private detective, then maybe reconsider your hobbies. But then again, you do you. I don't want to judge anyone. As long as you're not harming anyone, you know?
I mean, even if the person themselves isn't harming someone, like, imagine they find their location and someone else that sees that.
Yeah, and then they use it.
Yeah.
Just be wary of what you're doing. But especially little, I want to say little girls, because many children are going on TikTok now. I'm going to specifically say little girls, because it's very sad in the way they come on TikTok and the way they present themselves. And it gets you thinking, kind of, where is your parent to guide you around cybersecurity? Because they kind of just reveal anything and everything that they can in the name of being TikTok famous. I don't know if you've come across.
Yeah, I've seen those kind of videos, and I feel like most of their parents don't know, because I know that even girls that went to my old high school, some of the young ones, like year 7 or year 8, they'd be posting videos, and you can tell sometimes, like, oh, your parents don't know about this account. And I feel like even on TikTok, I think you need to be at least 12 years old. 13, yeah. And you need parents' guidance until you're like 16.
Yeah.
And parent controlled, yeah.
Yeah.
And I know that their accounts aren't parent controlled, so literally all their videos, anyone can see them, anyone can comment anything, they can save the videos.
Yeah, especially when you say save the videos, you never know who's saving those videos at all. And sometimes you, like, in terms of parent control and stuff, I feel like to an extent these platforms should have kind of a picture check. You know, if you're signing up, you should take a picture of your face, and then it will probably scan it for your age. And if you're, you know, if it happens that you look younger than the guidelines, then just provide like an ID if you're actually older than necessary. But I don't know if you know what I'm talking about.
No, I know what you mean. Like, when you sign up to like online banking, they always make this like ID check.
Yeah.
So something like that would be really useful, because you can like check if you're too young, and you can save the young girls, you know, from potential exploitation and
100%, because sometimes as well it doesn't come from the young girls themselves, but sometimes from the mums. Sometimes without even knowing it, but they might be exposing their daughters or even just their kids in general to potential predators, because you don't know who's on the other side of the screen, let's be honest. And so many people, there was this whole wave on TikTok, I can't remember when it was, but this mum, she was just exposing her daughter, and I think she didn't have any intention of that, but people started to point it out that how many people were saving her videos.
And who was commenting
and
as
who
well.
were commenting. They found out who was commenting, and it was just very weird people, like not normal.
Yeah, they don't belong in the comment section.
They should not be in the comment section. So it's just about a bit more about safety, and it should be more awareness should be risen on that.
Yeah, because an innocent video to someone might be something completely different to another person, so you got to be careful of everyone that could be potentially watching it.
Yeah. Going back to the ID thing on YouTube, if there's like content that's not safe for kids, they do require you to like take a picture of your ID and shit. So I think that is good, and I think more platforms should have something similar where it's like to access certain content you need to have an ID.
Yeah,
something like that.
And with YouTube as well, with the ID, they also ask you for your credit card details sometimes, just to make sure that you are of age and that you're able to be accessing this content, which is really good. The only thing about that is that the person who's posting needs to click that this content is not for young people. So that's just the only loophole. So if someone wants to put harmful content out there, they could just not check that box and then just post it until someone reports it, or until people start to report it. But there's always a loophole. There's always someone who will be finding a loophole. That's the thing. There's always weird people around. And I hope that if you're listening, you're not. You're practicing cybersecurity, and also you're just not doing anything that could harm anyone. And especially comments as well, like online, not just about security, but the amount of bullying that goes on online as well is crazy. You see the comments and you're like,
Sometimes, like, when I see a video and, like, I know someone's going to say something bad, I instantly click onto the comments and I see it all.
Yeah. And then it really reveals you how mean people can be.
There's also a whole thing of like Instagram comments versus YouTube comments.
Yeah, Instagram.
Where they'll say that Instagram comments are so much worse, and like, if you're gonna post something, don't post on Instagram because you're gonna get bullied.
Especially Instagram Reels, they are brutal. They're absolutely brutal. Sometimes, like, I've done the experiment as well, where I'd find the same video on TikTok and then go look for it on Instagram, and the comments are completely different. And you can probably guess which one is brutal and which one is nice. So it just depends. And also, I think it's a two-way thing. The people that are commenting just probably shouldn't comment that. If you don't have anything nice to say, then just don't say it, you know?
Yeah.
So, and I think the person recording the video, I guess, just do yourself.
I remember this was like such a big thing. It happened years ago. There was this like young woman and she got accepted into the police. I think she was like the youngest one.
I think I remember.
And then they found some old, I think it was Twitter comments of hers, like really racist ones. And everything was taken away from her, and like she was like disgraced to the community.
Oh damn.
So it really just shows you like no matter how much you've changed, if you make those like bad comments now, they're gonna stay with you for a long time.
Yeah, and nowadays recruiters or employers, they do a background check, especially online. They will find those comments that you left in 2005. Can't leave you, I'm sorry. Even though it's been like 19, almost 20 years, it'll come back and they'll show you the screenshots. They're like, was this not you?
My teacher was telling me that at a job interview she had, her employer asked her, he brought her Facebook account and he asked her to explain like the picture that she took. So yeah, it definitely does happen, and you should, I think, be cautious of what you're posting.
Yeah, and I feel like you never know what stays on the platform as well, so even if you delete it, you never know how long it's going to stay there, who they're sending that information to.
Yeah, because I know there was this app for Snapchat where if you download it, like you log into your account and everything, as soon as someone sends you any snap, it automatically saves it to your phone. So you don't need to save it in chat because it literally just gets saved right to your like gallery and they don't even know about it.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, so just use that information wisely.
Tips and tricks. Don't use it in a bad way.
Mm-hmm.
Use it to protect yourself. What else was I going to? I was gonna touch upon stalking, online stalking, in-person stalking. How do you feel about that? Any experiences?
I don't have any experience of that, thankfully.
Yeah.
But I've heard of so many really bad cases, and it shocks me and it scares me. So now when I'm walking alone, I'm always just like watching, making sure that, you know, I don't see anybody twice.
Yeah. The only like experience of that is like someone just following me on the road for just like 2 minutes, but nothing major. But even that is like off-putting, you know.
Yeah, that's good. I'm glad that you guys have had no experience because I have. Very sad, but I don't know if I want to go into it. Should I go into it just for?
If you want to.
Yeah.
I guess to raise more awareness.
An educational purpose.
Yeah, educational purpose, and I'm fine talking about this. It's not like it's bothering me, but I think 6 months ago, I was trying to go to town and then take my bus to another town of England, and this guy comes up to me and he's like, "Oh, let me give you a ride." So I was like, "No." First of all, I was on FaceTime with my friend, so she was there for extra protection. Which I don't think how that's gonna help extra protection, but so she could hear everything, and then he was like, "Oh, I'll give you a ride." Da, da, da. And then I said, no, you know, guys, when someone says give you a ride, you say no. You don't hop into that car. You walk or you just go take the bus. And then he started to show me the amount of money he has in his accounts, right? He goes, I've got this amount of money. And mind you, I was trying to walk away. It's like, I've got this amount of money. I can invest in you. This and that. You know, I'm a millionaire. And then some other guy jumped out of nowhere. I was like, yeah, he's a millionaire.
Oh, okay.
And I just walked away because that was that. And I think like 2 months later, I see the same guy. I was walking in town, and be aware of your surroundings. I wasn't aware that someone was following me, but out of the sudden, he just came in front of me, and he was like, "Oh, do you remember me?" And I said, "No." It was the same guy. And I said, "No, I don't remember you." And he said, "Oh, you know, no, the other time I asked you if I could give you a ride, stuff like that." And I said, "Oh, sure." And then I was like, you know what, cool, I don't want to talk to you. So I'm walking to the shop, and then he follows me into the shop, and then he opens his wallet, and then he shows me, he takes out £100. He's like, "Oh yeah, here you go. You can have £100. Guys, I shouldn't be laughing, but it was really funny in the moment. And he was like, "You could have £100, buy whatever you want." I was in this African shop, so stuff are quite expensive in there. It's like, buy whatever you want. This is your money. And I said, no, thank you. And at this point, I was trying to back away in the shop. And there were many people in the shop and many men as well. So I was kind of like trying to give them the looks like, hey, I'm not comfortable here. Yeah. Can you help me? No one helped me, first of all. So then I was just like, no, I don't want this. And he said, "I'll have my number." I said, "I don't want your number. I don't give him my number to different people." And then this is when I knew that he was stalking me, because he then tells me, "I remember when you used to live in your first house. I used to see you." And I said, hold up. I said, hold up. How do you know when my first... And he described it perfectly, literally where I lived. And then I said, "How do you know this?" And then he goes, "Well, I remember you used to go to XYZ Park and I would sit there and watch you." I was like, wait, hold up. And that was very, very shocking to me. And then I said, "Just don't follow me. Don't look at me anymore. I want nothing to do with you. Otherwise, I'll call the police." And then he just left. He took his money and his wallet and he left. And I was telling my friends, and then how shocking it was, because you never know who is watching you many times over there. So just be aware of your surroundings, guys. That was a bit of my story.
Oh my gosh, I'd be so scared. Like, I would run home and I would tell my parents.
Yeah, it was honestly shocking, because when he said, "I used to watch you," and then he described my first house, I was like, yeah, you've been watching me for a long time. So, yeah, just be careful. Honestly, be aware of your surroundings as well. When you see someone twice, just like Sarah said, just know there might be something dodgy going on. And if you see them more than twice, just you need or something in
just
those days.
call someone, find someone.
Find someone that you know and trust, and if you can, call the police if it's really, really bad. But I feel like if you call the police as well too early on, I don't know if there's much that they can do.
I don't think so. But it's even, I've heard of this happening where someone would go to the police and they'll tell them about this situation and they'll be like, oh, look into it, but nothing ever happens.
Yeah.
Especially like stalking situations is really difficult because like who like records someone walking behind them multiple times?
So they don't know who to look at.
Yeah, it's like you can't really find evidence for this kind of stuff.
Yeah. Unless it's online, really.
Yeah.
Then they can track it down. But then again, I don't know.
Yeah, and oftentimes they say that nothing has happened, so they can't really do anything.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, but it's just that feeling of being unsafe. But nothing has really happened yet.
Yeah.
You know?
But yeah, just make sure that you surround yourself with safe people as well. I know that I've got safe people in my life, so I'm alright with that. And I've got my keys always with me. So yeah, just make sure that, and also I think it's great to learn self-defense.
Yeah.
Because you never know what's coming your way, and then, or at least learning how to run.
Yeah.
Or run fast.
Running is good.
Running is good. It hurts your feet sometimes, but it's
just
good.
Wear comfortable shoes at all times.
Just wear comfortable shoes and you should be fine, really.
Well, also, when you are walking, like, maybe in the dark or late, don't look, like, shy. Look quite confident.
Yeah.
Like, walk with, I guess, power. Just look like you're not someone that should be messed with.
Yeah. That's a good one, actually. So then they don't... It's like a shark, you know, when they sense blood. And then everyone in the studio... I just have to say what happened. Everyone literally in the studio just nodded. As I said, that it was really funny to see. Because they all did that in sync. But anyway, it's like a shark, and then when they sense blood, they come towards it. If there's no blood, then there's nothing for them to come towards. So yeah, walk with confidence. Don't see the same person twice. What else? Don't get in random people's cars. You know, I don't know if you think, oh yeah, it's, you know, the Good Samaritan helping me today on this hot day. Don't do it. It's not worth it. You don't know what's gonna happen.
Always check your taxis. Make sure it's your taxi.
Always check your taxi. And also, if you can, whenever you're getting in a taxi, have someone on call with you, just in case something happens. They're able to do something about it. I always have my friend on call with me, so that is really good. We are coming to the end of the show. It was very interesting. So we're just gonna do last thoughts on the show. Gonna start with Sarah.
I think that if you guys have been listening from the beginning, take all the tips we've given you.
Yeah.
Learn from Ruth's anecdote about being stalked. So if someone ever comes up to you, you know, offering you money, say no, walk away.
Even if it's a millionaire.
Yeah. Even
Apparently.
if someone says they're a millionaire too.
Apparently.
They're probably not.
They're probably not. But
yeah, just make sure you're as safe as possible. Sometimes you'll still feel unsafe, but just try and get back home as quickly as possible if you are walking late. Because I know that many people will be now that uni has started.
Yeah.
And they'll be traveling quite far to get back home. So just make sure you walk with confidence and walk quickly. And
Yeah, and just from me, I would say if there's no way for you to get any lessons on self-defense, try to learn something from YouTube. There's always free stuff there. And also try to learn how to run at least. If you don't know how to run, at least learn how to. Maybe not that fast, but learn how to, and then you never know. You might not have the strength to fight whoever's in front of you, but you might have the legs to run away from them. And just have your keys.
I also want to plug in the Expressions Project again.
Yeah.
So that's for violence against women and girls, and Attentive will be doing that by coordinating different schools for art and creativity. So
yeah, and I was going to say that in terms of the project as well, stay tuned in Youthology because we'll be talking about that as well. And you can look us up on any platform you want, really. Attentive. That's with a 10 in the middle. So ATT. I feel like I just have to spell it out because people are wondering where is the 10. But ATT 10TIVE. That's Attentive. And then you can just stay updated with the project that we're doing. And everything else. So that was everything from us today. This has been Youthology from AUK Radio, brought to you by Attentive Social Enterprise. I have been your host. I have been your host, Ruth.
And Manur.
And our guest has been
Sarah.
Thank you so much for listening in today, and we'll be back to you in 2 weeks' time with another episode, so stay tuned in. Bye.
Bye.